There's a kind of tired that sleep just doesn't fix. You wake up before the alarm, you sit on the edge of the bed, and you really already know today is going to cost you something that you just don't have. Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Angela. I am a 44 single childless woman who is rebuilding a bunch of stuff in her life and going through all of these new adventures in her 40s. We are talking all about life, love, finances, business, relationships, all of those things that go through all of these tumultuous changes when you actually hit your 40s. One of the big things that we've seen over the last few years that a lot of people, a lot of social media, doctors, just people in general have been talking about, and that is burnout. And while I really think that it is important to talk about burnout, I also think it's really important to sort of make the distinction, because a lot of women in their 40s have been using that as this sort of catch-all word to describe how they've been feeling and how we've been feeling. But one thing that I've been thinking about is really, what if that doesn't actually describe what this is? There is a certain type of exhaustion that happens when you hit your 40s, and it's not burnout. It's so much more complicated than that. And I don't think enough people are making that distinction. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about it, especially right now. It's something I'm really going through with my sleep habits and rest and all of these things. And so I want to sort of explain how I've been thinking about it and hopefully take away this stigma that it's just burnout, it's just work. That's the reason you're exhausted. That's it. You can take care of that with a couple of weeks of vacation. Absolutely not. That is not what this is at all. So a lot of different types of being tired, fatigue, exhaustion have sort of been all rolled into this word of burnout. And I don't think that that's a fair assessment. As you get into your 40s, especially as a woman, there are so many other things in your life that are compounding to create this internal exhaustion that you feel. And people like to brush it off that it's, oh, you just work too much, you need a vacation, you need to take a break. But that is really not what this is about. There are so many different layers to the type of exhaustion that we feel that it really needs to be explained and specified. When we talk about burnout, the first thing that comes to my mind is somebody talking about work. You've been working too much. You haven't been taking enough time off. You haven't been taking your vacations. You're putting too much effort, and you're, not doing enough in your personal life to get away from your work life, and it's causing this burnout. So yes, there is that clinical sort of definition of this. And yes, that is part of it. I will say, absolutely, that is part of it. At this point, so many women are so much farther in their careers. They're in these higher positions, manager positions, that have a lot of responsibilities and cause a lot of stress. So burnout absolutely is something that is very valid. But there's also being tired. And being tired is a lot harder to pinpoint the cause of. And that's what a lot of women in their 40s are starting to experience. So a lot of us are really just tired. It's harder to specify and to name. It's really just this accumulation of all of these things of life and work and family and personal issues. All of these years of, holding your shit together, taking care of other people, holding other people's burdens, helping them fix their lives while ours just sort of sit by the wayside. It's just this depletion that we feel, and especially as women in our 40s, this is when we really start to feel this. And so it's important to name this. Yes, this is a tired, but it is a much bigger kind of tired and exhaustion that has so many different layers to it that it does not convey the real truth of the matter just by saying, I'm tired. Now, the other piece of this is something that I was never taught about. Nobody ever really talked about it. It wasn't something that was openly discussed anywhere really, and really has just started to come out in the last few years. And that is fatigue from perimenopause. Now, this is something that is completely brand new to me, especially over this last year or two. Social media and people are starting to talk about perimenopause a lot. It's a really big deal right now. So this perimenopause fatigue is your body is doing something enormous, and it is taking so much energy, and it is depleting. The fatigue is real. It's mental, it's psychological, it's physical. And the sad part is we don't really know how to explain it, especially to other people, and especially doctors. So sadly, a lot of women go into their doctor and they say, I am exhausted, I'm tired, I have this fatigue. And doctors just try to, a lot of times, brush it off. You're busy, you're stressed, you've got kids, or you're taking care of your parents. Yes, all of that is part of it. But the perimenopause fatigue is very distinct. A lot of doctors are just not acknowledging it and not acknowledging the fact that something needs to be done. And the worst part is that you just have to push through because you're not sick enough, right? You don't have a fever. There's nothing to diagnose, nothing that you can point to that actually explains this exhaustion. It is just there, and your body knows it. There's also the very specific perimenopause fatigue and symptoms that you feel. So I know for myself, brain fog is a really big part of this. I definitely don't feel as sharp during the days when I'm working. My evenings, I just crash because I have depleted everything that I have that day. And of course, there's, the hot flashes and the not being able to really, like regulate your body temperature. On top of this, in our 40s, we're going through all of these big life stages. Some people have kids and husbands and families, and others are like myself that are single but are helping taking care of parents. There's jobs that we're not happy in anymore. There's businesses that we are building on the side. There are all of these things, managing a household, cleaning, cooking, just the everyday life. And all of that on top of that exhaustion and that fatigue is indescribable. And you don't know it. You really don't know how it feels until you've been through it. Like myself, I'm going through it right now, and I have so much sympathy and empathy for anybody who is experiencing this. And I myself, I don't even feel like I have extreme symptoms. So I can't even imagine other women who are going through many worse symptoms than I am. But the biggest thing is this, just overall daily exhaustion. I can't explain it. Like, is it just me, or are you nodding along right now because you're feeling those things and you're going through these same things? Because it is just unbelievable that nobody warned us, nobody talked about this, nobody discussed these issues. And also the fact that you can't even go to the doctor and be like, hey, this is what's happening, and they can actually give you something to help you. So many doctors, I mean, this is a whole other video, but so many doctors are so dismissive of these types of symptoms because there is no disease behind it. A lot of times you go and get labs and your labs are perfect. You aren't low in anything. There's really no like scientific medical reason why. And that's the worst part of it all. So I'm not here to like give you a list of supplements or, the perfect morning routine to help you get through your day. That's just not what I do. But there are some things that I have started to shift that have helped me with this. It is by far not even close to perfect. It's just a few simple steps that I've started working on that have helped in this process. And one of those things is actually naming the type of fatigue and tiredness that I have on a certain day. Some days it very obviously is I didn't sleep well, I didn't get enough sleep, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and couldn't get back to bed. Those are the days that are obvious. And there are other days where it is very clearly a perimenopause, exhaustion, hormones are going crazy, and that's just what it is. And you just need to get through the day in order to be able to rest. I haven't found any miracle for it yet. If you have any ideas or any suggestions, definitely let me know. Another thing is I'm really starting to try and reduce scrolling. I know that that has a lot to do with a mental exhaustion that I cannot keep up with. And so part of what I'm starting to do is look into more analog ways of entertaining myself, basically to put my phone down, no scrolling, no sitting on social media, and really letting my brain rest from all of that dopamine that we get. That's a big part of this. And actually, that's going to be a big goal in this next 6 months, is to really focus on that. And I'll talk about that in another video, but that's one of the things. And the other thing is just understanding that my body is doing what it's doing because it is a natural response. I am at a certain age where things are going to start happening. We are getting older. It is awful and terrible and so sad, but we are getting older. And as much as you might want to push back on that, fight against that, there's also a certain amount of acceptance. And that is something that I am also working on, is just trying to accept the fact that I am not 25 anymore. My body does not rebound the way that it used to. And there are things that I have to change in my life and my lifestyle that are going to help me feel better. Um, Honestly, I could talk a million years about this exhaustion. Like I said, if you have it, if you've felt it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is indescribable, which makes it so difficult. But I think we need to talk about it more, because more people need to understand. And also, younger generations need to know that this is something that's coming, and to start working on your health as soon as you can, because that's going to be a really important piece of that. Honestly, if this video found you, I don't think it's an accident. Um, I hope that this is the channel for you, because you feel these same things, you're going through these same challenges, and I want you to know that you're not alone. Not a lot of us are out here talking about it, but I hope that changes, and I hope me being a part of that changes that as well. So if you're interested, if this is something that you liked, I would love it if you hit the subscribe button. I am going to continue talking about these things because it's really important to make sure that women are heard and understood, especially in this weird chapter of our 40s. So I hope you stick around for the next one, and I will see you soon.